Out of being a trilogy and now into part 4 of Q&As with a little insight of what it's like to be a scare actor.
You can't handle the truth!
Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, and now we're in the 4th video with some questions that people have asked me in person and online of what it's like to be a scare actor at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando. And if you haven't seen any of the previous Q&As, go ahead and click a link above my head right now. And if you have a question that you haven't seen in any of the previous videos and you want to have it answered, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I will see about adding it into a future video. But let's get into the questions now. And the first one is, as a scare actor, how do you unwind when you aren't acting? Assuming that you're talking about taking breaks and not your days off, I can say that the majority of scare actors rehydrate during their set breaks because rehydration is most important due to the fact that we sweat a ton. Now, some other scare actors sit down, relax, listen to some music, talk to others about what happened during the last set, or even go ahead and get a bite to eat. But usually not all at the same time. Next question, do people get injured working as a scare actor? Is it dangerous? Do people get injured? Yes. Is it dangerous? No. People get hurt at any job that they go to. I myself got hurt during this past year, and I suffered bilateral sprains in my left knee and my right knee, and it affected my ACLs. It sidelined me for a few weeks after the event. To be honest, the majority of the reasons why somebody would actually go to health services is due to the fact that they're dehydrated or they never stretched before they went out on set. If you can do that, you are golden because it is a very physical job. And the next question says, what made you want to be a scare actor? Well, scaring people is basically a family tradition that was started by my father. I mean, he wasn't a scare actor. He just loved scaring my brother, not me. I was a complete wuss at the time. If he would have scared me, I would have went into a catatonic state. But the very first Halloween Horror Nights that I ever went to was Halloween Horror Nights number 9, and I thought, man, it would be so much fun to work here. However, I didn't live in the area, and the job that I had, I wouldn't have been able to take time off anyways to go ahead and do that. So I never pursued it up until Halloween Horror Nights number 25, and by that time I lived in the area, and my wife was extremely supportive of me going there, even though she doesn't go to the event. The next question is, what role do you like more, Herman Blitzkrieg or Leatherface? Wow, that's a tough question, actually. I mean, Leatherface is an icon, and I definitely scared more people as Leatherface than I did as Herman Blitzkrieg. But Herman Blitzkrieg, I was on the stage the entire time. I wasn't hidden at all like I was with Leatherface. So everybody that went into the house had to see me, unless their eyes were closed or they were looking down and I was too busy screaming, "Look at me!" To make sure that they weren't doing that. But I would have to say that Herman Blitzkrieg edged out Leatherface just for the fact that I was given a little bit more leeway with that, and I was on stage the whole time. And the next question is there a difference between working a scare zone versus in a house maze? Well, I can't really say firsthand what the difference is between a house and a scare zone because I've never worked a scare zone before. I can tell you, though, the difference between a house and a scare zone is that the scare zone, you are in a much more opened area, and that way you can get different types of scares and different angles. Whereas if you're in a house, you're in the same scare, and you master that throughout the event. And the next question is, are there different rules working with an intellectual property versus working an original property? That's a great question. Actually, going back to what I had said before, the difference between Leatherface and Herman Blitzkrieg, I mentioned leeway, and that is what is the big difference between an OP and an IP, IP being intellectual property, OP being an original property. If you're with an IP, you have to work as the role as the original creator set that character to be, meaning that you have to work along with the copyright. And I mean, you couldn't see me being Leatherface tap dancing at all because you would never see Gunnar Hansen's version of Leatherface tap dance. As an original property, the Universal Orlando creative team and the acting coaches kind of give you a guideline, give you a basis of what your character is, and then you get to develop it more from there on. Next question, do you keep any of your costume after the event? The short answer to that is no. Some of the costumes are intellectual properties, and Universal Orlando does not own those properties at all, so they couldn't give them away even if they wanted to. But as far as the original properties go, Universal tends to recycle a lot of the stuff. And the following question is, are your chainsaws real at Texas Chainsaw Massacre? The short answer to that is yes, they were real chainsaws at one point in time. They're not movie props, and they are not toy chainsaws that you would get in a store. They're, in fact, real chainsaws. Universal has a team of chainsaw techs that go ahead and modify them so that they can go out in public. The one that I had was a gas-powered chainsaw, and the only thing that was different from the chainsaw that I had to what a functional chainsaw is to go and cut down trees is that little spinning chain. Otherwise, it was a real chainsaw. And the next question is, do you plan on doing HHN next year as a scare actor? To be honest, I would love to go out and do another Halloween Horror Nights. Scare acting to me is like a drug that's injected right into your brain. Once you do the scare acting gig, that type of feeling is very hard to come across again. It is a lot of fun. However, I worked for another department at Universal, and some people might know what that department was. And there was an issue that probably has prevented me from ever working at Universal ever again. And the last question is, what would you want to be if you do another year of HHN? Well, thinking about it, do I normally look like that when I think about things? I've basically done everything that I've wanted to do at HHN. I wanted to have an Actor A role, which I didn't get, but I turned Herman Blitzkrieg kind of into an Actor A position. And I also wanted to have a live chainsaw, and I wanted to be an icon, and I got that this past year with Leatherface. Leatherface is an icon, and I had a live chainsaw. So there really isn't anything else for me to do other than maybe be in a scare zone, because I haven't done that before, and that way I could interact with people and get my picture taken all over the place. But to be honest, I don't need to have my picture taken all over the place. I have reached immortality just by making these videos. I was going to do an evil laugh, but I don't think you can beat Vincent Price's. And if you like the video, go ahead and tap that like button. It does a lot more than what you think it does. Share with your friends in all forms of social media. If you have a question, like I said earlier in the video, and you haven't seen it in a previous Q&A, go ahead and put your question down below in the comment box. Do not forget to subscribe so you get notified the moment I upload, and I will see you in the next video.